side, I'm going to grab his wrist and try and bend his palm against my chest. I'm trying to put his palm against my chest. Right now, just his knuckles are on my chest. I grab, force the palm against my chest. Now it's important I reach over the top because I'm trying to catch his knuckles in my shoulder as I force his palm to my chest, and then I grab behind his elbow. Okay? Once I grab behind his elbow, I release my left hand on his wrist and go double elbow, and then I'm going to pinch my pec in to try and turn his hand even more, and his hand is caught in my V here, as you can see. And then I drive all my weight straight down to the mat to finish it. If a guy is really tough and they're holding out, sometimes you have to drop all the way to your knees and really drive them down to the mat to finish it. Okay? Perfect timing. Moving to the next position, we're going to go from close guard. Okay? These ones are really fun because a lot of people's close guards, they feel limited. They can only do triangles, they can only do arm bars and kimuras. If you have wrist locks here, it can really threaten the guy and stop him from being able to get his grip positioning on your belt and on your collar to actually stand up and break your close guard. So what I like to do is whenever someone's trying to fight for my grips or my collar or trying to control my wrist, I try and threaten with wrist locks so that they have to worry about defending the wrist lock rather than trying to set up an escape from my close guard. So the first one, let's say he grips my wrist here. My goal is going to be to turn my hand up, and I'm trying to grab right here or over his thumb, okay? So he's going to grab my wrist, I'm going to turn up my hand, so my hand's palm to palm, and I'm going to grip around his thumb. My elbow's pointed high in the air, my other hand is going to reach around, and I'm going to go for a kimura type grip. Except I'm not grabbing my wrist, I'm just on my elbow, on my armpit, my bicep. Elbow, armpit, bicep. In this general area here. And I'm going to bend his wrist backwards and down. At the same time, I need to bring my other leg up behind his elbow so that he doesn't have anywhere to go. If I don't block his elbow, he'll be able to drive his elbow down to the mat and pull his hand away. Okay? So I'll do it on this side so you can see. He grips here. I turn my hand over and catch the thumb. Bend his wrist. And I'm going to bring my foot to his hip and trap his elbow in the crook of my hip. Here. Bending it, coming on top, and finish it. Bending his hand backwards. So I bring my hand inside. Once it's bent, I put both hands on top and really crunch everything tight to finish. Okay? Next wrist lock. I'm going to be getting a cross control on his wrist here. And I'm going to be scooting my hips out to the side and shrimping and getting what's called a reverse kimura grip. Okay? What I want with the reverse kimura grip is for his elbow to be right in my gut. And then my arm is going to be overhooked here, gripping my own wrist. You can see how this resembles a kimura, but it's not. It's a reverse kimura. Okay? Now from here, my left hand is breaking the control he has over his hand. I don't want it to be stiff, so my left hand's pulling as my right hand's pulling as my left hand pulls his wrist down and across. Then we have his wrist pinched, and then I can finish the wrist lock here. Okay? Now there's one more wrist lock that I like to use, and that's when someone, it's actually two more from the same position. It's when someone puts their hands on your armpits. Okay, this is a really effective close guard defense for him because if he puts his hands in my armpits, it's very hard for me to reach and grab his collar, reach up and grab his back, get underhooks, get overhooks, anything of that nature. So we need to attack this position, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave my left hand underneath and I'm going to focus just on this side here, okay? So as I weave my left hand underneath, I'm going to pinch my hand tight, my armpit tight over his knuckles, and I'm going to grab underneath his elbow and turn his elbow out. Okay, so this hand is reaching underneath, this hand is pulling at the elbow to turn his elbow out, and now I'm going to bring both of my hands to his elbow, and his thumb is trapped here. As you can see, I'm pinching my bicep and my armpit down on his hand, and then I'm going to yank his elbow up towards me, cranking upwards, and that's bending his wrist in my armpit, so his wrist is bending like that. So when he has his thumb on the outside, it's especially effective. I bring my elbow down to my ribs, I turn his elbow out, and I pull everything in. Sorry, just cracked your hand there. My bad. Oops, sorry, I guess. Okay, next one. From the same position, he's going to be here, but let's say this time his thumb is on the inside, okay? Sometimes when the thumb's on the inside, it can be a little harder to finish the wrist lock itself because his hand may be able to escape out the bottom. So when his thumb is on the inside here, I'm going to reach my hand underneath. This is what's called the ankle lock wrist lock, okay? So I bring my hand underneath as if I was going for an ankle lock, and I have just his fingers and his thumb pinched in my armpit. I don't have his entire hand. It's important that a little bit of his hand is out so that I can get the good leverage under the joint of the wrist. Okay? From here, I'm attacking just like I would an ankle lock. I'm going to drive my hips upwards, and I'm going to lift my hips into the air to try and finish. If this isn't enough, but usually it is, I'm going to throw this leg over the top, like I'm going for like a leg lasso position. Now this looks weird, but he actually can't escape his hand very easily. If he tries to yank his hand out, I'm pulling really tight with my left hand, and my arm is pinched really tight, and putting my leg over the top stops him from being able to rise up to help relieve the pressure, because if I just leave my foot here, and I go to lift, he's going to be able to rise up to release the pressure. So when I throw the leg over, it stops him from being able to rise up, and then I can put really good pressure bending his wrist. And all I'm doing is just taking his wrist and bending it downwards like this, in a direction it doesn't want to go. Okay guys, so that's 8 wrist locks that you can do, 4 from standing, 4 from the closed guard. They're really effective because they're from very simple positions, and you can always attack them. And even if they get their hand out, they wriggle out of it in any way, it gives them something to worry about, and they have to be on the defensive now and worried about where they put their hands because you're threatening them with wrist locks. And that's one of the most beneficial things about adding wrist locks to your game, is it just adds an extra layer of danger, which is my middle name for any of you who didn't know. Thank you for watching.